minute to win it over there. What up, Facebook Live? Back at it again. These double headers are a killer. Killer. Oh, shoot. I love how I say, hey, you guys should stick around and watch. Oh, there's one person. It's probably your mom.
Or me.
Or you. I say, hey, you guys should stick around. Oh, there you went. Never mind. There's two. Perfect. That's hilarious. All right. We're going to get everything set up here. We'll get kicking real quick. Not a huge show today. No guest. Just us two.
There goes our two.
There went our two right there.
Followers, yeah.
Yep, that's it. All right, let's get this recorded. What is up, East of the Bend listeners? This is your host, Greg Schaefer. How you doing? It is October 7th, 2018, and the Irish are 6-0 after a big victory over Virginia Tech last night. Awesome game by Ian Book. He was a little off, but hey, we'll take it. Nonetheless, undefeated's undefeated. Here with my co-host, Will Havanas. What up, dude?
Hey.
Hey. So, not a huge show today. Just talk some college football and some NFL and anything else any other commercial that might be like squirrel. There it is. We are brought to you by Dempsey's Food and Spirits at 346 South High Street in Columbus, Ohio. Awesome crowd last night. It was packed to the gills. Make sure you're getting out there. Free food and drink special, or free food, yeah. Free parking, food and drink specials. Yeah, could you imagine?
Free food, I'm there.
Yeah. Mark Dempsey's like, what in the hell did he say?
Why is your phone ringing right now,
Yeah.
Greg?
Why did we just lose a sponsor right in the middle of the show? Yeah, free parking at the Mound Street Garage, right on the corner there. Construction's a mess right now, so if you were there last night, that is no indication of what it's usually like, or if you try to go this week or next week. Yeah, no indication of what it usually looks like. So get out there, check out Dempsey's Food and Spirits again at 346 South High Street in Columbus. We are the official podcast of the Notre Dame Fan Club of Columbus. Mark Hissam, he's the founder of that club, and he had it rocking last night with the sound system, and he does the fight song after all scores, and really cool atmosphere. Really, like I say online, it's probably the only place in Central Ohio that can turn Columbus into South Bend on a college football Saturday. So, yeah, good time out there last night. Also, a big shout-out to Jason and Nate Hendricks of the Dose Leprechauns. Check out their page on Facebook at Dose Leprechauns. Check out DJ Digital Input, Kent Price. I still got your sign, Kent. It's right here, Facebook Live. Yeah, right there. Yep. 740-973-0817 for all your DJ needs.
Do you think there's a reason why you still have his sign? Because you keep showing it?
Well, yeah, he kind of said I could hang it, but Johnny McBanner back here, who fills up the whole wall, says otherwise. So there ain't much we can do about that one, that's for sure. Follow the show on at East of the Bend on Facebook, East of the Bend on Twitter. We got a YouTube channel that I'm like 19 videos behind on, but hey, if you subscribe, you'll know when I post them. So there's that. You got that going for you. This show, as well as all our other shows, and then the post-game show with Newark Catholic head coach Ron Aiello are on Facebook or on SoundCloud, iTunes, all's the places. So yeah, man, week 6 of the NCAA season got over yesterday. We're in week 8 of the high school season. What is this, week 4 or 5 of the NFL? 5, right?
Week 5, yeah.
Week 5, man, it's ticking right along. Leaves are changing, getting a little cooler outside. It's definitely getting into football season. You wouldn't know that much.
Yeah, it's like 90 degrees outside.
Well, yeah, today it is. Friday night, we got these awesome fleeces, East of the Bend fleeces, covering Newark Catholic, and they didn't make it out of the bag. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we get these fleeces, and then it warms up.
This was one of the hottest days in a minute, by the way. Man, it is scorching out there. But, yeah, so the Irish get the win yesterday, 45-23. Hey, Mark Fitzpatrick just said the Browns won. Well, you have a Steeler fan and a Bengal fan, or a Bear fan on this show. So
yeah, I was listening to that on my way here.
Was it 12-9 was the final?
Yeah,
That is the most.
They kicked the field goal in overtime with like 6 seconds left.
That is the most Brown score I've ever heard in my entire life. By the way, Bears are off this week. Mark said we're going to need those fleeces for the Valley game. I hope so.
Oh, me too.
I want to wear it.
Yeah,
I want to wear the thing.
I turned the air conditioner down to like 60 degrees in my house, and then I just put that on.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, you're getting your use out of it. That's cool. That is cool. So, 45-23, Irish won yesterday. Ian Book looked a little shaky, but still went for 25-35 for 275, I believe, 2 touchdowns, an interception. So not a bad day. We'll take that. Dexter Williams went off again. Real quick message to those out there on the message boards that say, Dexter was suspended, Jafar's hurt, so that might make a difference, and Kelly might have done it anyway. But Tony and Jafar, they held it down more than fine. Well, guess what? Through 2 games, Dexter Williams is the leading rusher on the team. So, whoops. Yeah, 160, and then he almost went for 180 last night.
Yeah.
Averaging 8 a pop in college football. It's all right.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. They had a 90.
8 a pop in college football is like 4.5 in the NFL.
True. Which is good.
Yeah, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, which is phenomenal in the NFL. That stadium, man, that is the coolest. That inner Sandman is the coolest thing ever. When they come out and they walk across their practice field, I was watching that, and Mark had it all piped up at Dempsey's and everything like that, and I'm like, I think after this game I might be a Virginia Tech fan. Like, it's sweet. I like that kind of stuff. But one of the things I noticed that is different from Lane, and what Lane gets this great reputation because of Enter Sandman and all that stuff, is one of the things I noticed is after that, and they were in that game, and then they come out at halftime, and after the initial kind of let's go, that's it. Like, I feel like Death Valley and Alabama and other places, I feel like they can maintain it.
Yeah.
Where Lane was like, everybody's hyped up, and then it's like, all right, now it's a football game. We're just going to hang out now.
Well, and it seems like more colleges do stuff in the third and fourth quarter to get everybody pumped up.
Yeah.
And it's surprised that you do that big thing in the beginning of the game and then nothing later on.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to ramp back up because there's eventually in every game, there's always that lull. Even if you're playing the game, there's always that, all right, now we're in the game, and now, we're settling into it, and you couldn't play with your hair on fire like that for, 60 minutes of football. So, nice win yesterday. Defense looked good, despite Pete Sampson was actually on, let me name drop real quick. Pete Sampson from The Athletic that writes for Notre Dame was on ESPN Radio, and why that's really cool when I heard it is, I love Pete Sampson. Outside of Allison and Tyler James, they're probably 2 of my favorite people, and Vahid and Matt Randall. Those are some of my favorite Notre Dame writers and broadcasters and such. But, he's on the ESPN Radio from The Athletic, and then we had Andy Bitter the week before from Virginia Tech from The Athletic. I'm like, all right, I see you, ESPN. I raise you one. We had Dalen Hayes out to a stinger, and then we had Julian Okwara got knocked out for targeting, and like we talked about last week with Ohio State and Penn State, those targetings were kind of questionable. No, Julian Okwara got his money's worth last night, in other words, so he deserved his.
Yeah.
To go down to Lane Stadium, get that kind of win, have Dexter go off like that, and not play your best game. I mean, honestly, that was probably a C-plus performance, and come out with a 45-23 win. I mean, I'll take that, definitely, in that kind of environment. Now, I don't think Virginia Tech's all that good. And honestly, I don't even know if they're a top 25 team.
Yeah.
I mean, they were ranked 22, but do
you wonder if sometimes they rank teams knowing that the following week it looks better on paper when you have number 8 Notre Dame playing against number 22 Virginia Tech, and then you're going to have it at 8:00 at prime time. Do you think that they sometimes do that?
But for this situation in this season, I don't know who else they'd put there.
Well, I mean, there is that. I'm not saying.
No, I
it's
agree.
That,
I agree, but
you think about like Alabama. They always have they have such a weak schedule every year.
No, you stop that.
That they have to just make these teams, like Ole Miss was ranked 21st or something like that, and then Ole Miss can't even like get off the bus without losing.
And you know what? They play as tough a schedule as the NFC North, and you'll say nothing more. No, I do agree with that. I agree they do. They look at them and they're like, all right, it's the AP, man. Who does the AP work for? The AP works for the media.
Yeah.
Anything good for the rest of the media and ABC or whatnot is good for the AP. So it's all cyclical. And, if number 6, I forget, we were actually number 6 last night, goes against number 22, it looks a whole lot better than unranked. But in this situation, the way this year's going, I mean, you're like, I think this team's good. Oh, they just lost.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on this Kentucky bandwagon, and they went out and laid an egg against Texas A&M. And for some reason, whichever Stoops coaches Kentucky decided, hey, Benny Snell's one of the best running backs in the country. Let's give him 9 carries. I think he had 10, but still. Like, one of the best running backs in the country. It's like, yeah, and he's carried this team. You know what? Tonight, you're getting 10 carries.
Yeah.
I don't get that thought process. I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm smarter than, I think it's Mike Stoops, or Mark, or I don't know, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. But I'm not that guy, but I don't get that sometimes. Like, how do you have a guy that is clearly your bell cow of the team? Like,
well, think about, like, the NFL, Minnesota Vikings. They have the rookie from last year, the running back out of Florida State. I can't think of his name. He hurt his knee. But anyways, this year, they go out and sign Kirk Cousins, and now they had a game where they only ran the ball 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Like, you have a great defense, and you had a really good young running back run the ball.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook, yeah.
Yeah, that kid's a stud, but he tore up his knee last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, nonetheless. And then they have Murray still? Latavius Murray?
Maybe, I think. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think they do as well. But yeah, I don't understand some of these coaches' thought process through all this, but so be it. Kentucky, enjoy Kentuckying down there in the SEC East, the mighty SEC. As far as the game goes, kind of finish up some thoughts on Notre Dame, Virginia Tech before we get to a few other things. It was a complete effort. We got a score on defense. We got a scoop and score. Julian Love on the sack, and then he picked up the fumble and runs it all the way back. I mean, that was great. We got out hot, which is what we needed to do against that atmosphere down there. And that was one of my biggest things is immediately you need to take that crowd out of it. And they did for the most part. But again, going back to what I said before, would they have been taken out anyway because they just don't sustain it all game?
Yeah.
I don't really know. But nonetheless, they got out early. But then, right before halftime, the typical Notre Dame fashion, after the scoop and score, we give up a touchdown right before the break, and it's 17-16. Now, I will say one of the things that I find better about this team this year is, the adjustments. I mean, it's 17-16 at the break. We win 45-23. I mean, that's doing something different at halftime. That's figuring things out. This team's deeper than I've ever seen before, especially on defense. This might be the best team we've had, I would venture to say, since Lou Holtz has ran the team. Because, when Brady was there and even in 2012, the starters were the only guys that were good. Or no, I shouldn't say good. The only elite guys. And then you noticed a significant drop-off from your starter up until your backup. But this year I don't see it. Yeah, I know. I didn't mute.
Nice.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
We're an amateur crew. It is what it is. I don't see that kind of drop-off. And we're running 8 or 9 deep on the defensive line with not very much drop-off from the 1s, 2s, and 3s. I mean, that is the kind of stuff that makes Ohio State successful, the kind of stuff that makes Alabama and Clemson. And, you might have 22 of the best players in the country, but when they need a break or something, if you got like the 1,000th best player in the country coming in to replace him, that's not a winning football team.
No.
I mean, Oregon used to show that all the time. That's why they don't have a national title, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
And part of it's scheme, too. I mean, anytime they got against somebody physical, that was kind of a wrap. Minnesota and Ohio State next week. We just seen a commercial for it. Did you see that play? Iowa running Turkey Bowl plays.
I did.
I was like, all right, that's interesting. But so Notre Dame wraps it up again, 45-23. Wimbush did get in the game toward the end there. It's nice to have him as a backup now that Ian is clearly on fire, and this is clearly his job. Pitt did pick up a win yesterday. That's who we got next is Pitt. They actually beat Syracuse, which our strength of schedule is garbage right now. But I don't know how good anybody's strength of schedule is, really. I mean, didn't TCU lose the week after Ohio State, too?
Yep.
It was like, oh, yeah, I'm not knocking Ohio State, honestly. It's just, hey, put that feather in your cap. We beat TCU, and then it's like, oh, they went out and just lost. Great.
Yeah.
It's like we knocked off Stanford last week, and then it's like, all right, that's a good win, and then Stanford goes and gets beat by like 10 by Utah, who was 2-2.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because college football.
Nobody really has. The only people who have that really hard, good strength of schedule are the teams that are 5-5.
Yeah, no doubt. That makes sense. That's something people probably don't want to hear.
No, they don't, but that's facts. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Too bad. Oh, man. Yeah, so a good win last night, and then, like I said, the atmosphere at Dempsey's was incredible. The atmosphere at the game at Lane Stadium was great. The sure tackling, I was really impressed by Notre Dame's sure tackling yesterday. And not only the sure tackling on the defensive side of the ball, but then on the offensive side of the ball, just these guys finally using their size. You got these, Miles Boykin and Chase Claypool are all 6'4", running around 220 to 230, and finally getting into a place to use their size. Now, were they using it before? Maybe they were. Maybe Wimbush just couldn't throw it to a spot like we were talking about in the past.
Yeah.
Who knows? But nonetheless, we got Pitt coming up next week. We kind of put the Virginia Tech win to bed. It's probably the most hostile environment we'll go to all season, and it is crazy to think that looking at the schedule, is it possible we already beat our best opponent? Like, honestly, looking at the schedule, Michigan might be our best opponent.
As of right now, yeah.
As of right now, yeah. I mean, Florida State kind of crapped the bed against Miami yesterday. They were up 27-7.
How does Florida State have 3 wins?
Well, they played Louisville. They played Northern Illinois.
So did they play like a Division III team 3 times?
Louisville, Northern Illinois, and then who else did they beat? I want to say they beat like a Bethune-Cookman or something like that. I feel like it was like a one. It was Furman or Fordham. One of those two.
Exactly.
No, Samford. That's right.
Samford.
Because they were making fun of them. They're like, they're playing Samford this week, not Stanford. Samford. And they almost got beat because they were down like 26-21. Yeah, Florida State's a mess. But, hey, you keep on being a mess over there because these tickets are going through the floor, and I'm going. So you keep on sucking, Florida State, and I appreciate every moment of it.
Yeah, I don't know. Florida State is not what everybody thought they were going to be.
But just like what we talk about,
and I think that's why Jimbo got out.
That's a good point. That's actually a really good point because maybe he's seen the writing on the wall. Maybe he was like, okay, my talent's gone. The Dalvin Cook is gone. Who's Jack Nicklaus's son that was on the team? Tight end.
I didn't know Jack Nicklaus's son was on the team.
Yeah, damn it, I can't think of. Or was it his nephew?
Was his last name Nicholas?
No, it wasn't. And I can't think of what it was off the top of my head. In any event, so it wouldn't have been his son, obviously.
Why? Why, obviously?
Well, because he would have had the same last name.
Maybe.
Maybe. No,
maybe his...
I'm going to look that up just by Florida.
Baby mama decided not to give him. And maybe it was in the agreement.
Maybe it wasn't the agreement. Nick O'Leary.
Oh.
I knew he had a very Irish name to it.
Is he playing in the NFL?
Yeah, he plays for the Miami Dolphins. He's a tight end.
I was going to say,
pretty talented guy.
He looks like a lineman.
Yeah.
That picture.
Yeah, he does. It's a big dude, 6'3". Probably weighs all the pounds. Doesn't say how much he weighs.
Because you can't put all the pounds.
No, you can't put all 252 at tight end. That is a load.
Yeah.
That is that's why I never made it to the NFL, especially on defense. Because I would throw myself against that. I'm good. Let's go. But I don't know I'd live through it. I'm fearless. I'll go ahead and go after it. I'm not even saying I'm going to make the tackle. I'm just trying to live through this experience.
Yeah.
You're like trying to go up there and taking it bad against Randy Johnson. No dice. Oh, man. What we got going on here? We got the Eagles and Vikings. What's the score? Because I can't see.
20-3 Vikings. I think
I'm shocked by that, actually.
I'm not. I think the Eagles, they pulled that Baltimore run from a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just got hot and they at the right time and won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then this year they're...
Yeah, but we talked about before, we thought this team might win another one because of the contract, the team-friendly contracts.
You would think so, but watching them play...
Yeah. So I'm looking at the top 25 right now, and everybody took their pants off yesterday because apparently Alabama scored, and like I guess the Arkansas announcers, then this is legit. They weren't actually ready, and by the time they were, Alabama was up 7-0. So it was like a big joke, but it's like Arkansas's 1-5.
They're garbage.
They are
SEC.
SEC. They're probably gonna make the playoffs.
Probably.
And Vanderbilt still continues to fail me. All that hype that I had about Vanderbilt winning 8 games, 41-13 with Georgia. So there's that. Your boys picked up a nice one yesterday because Indiana's got a nice offense. Every year I feel like you guys play Indiana, and Indiana kind of gives you guys fits.
Yeah.
The game is never mentally, like if I was a Buckeye fan and watching that game, I would never be concerned I'm losing.
Right.
But the score is going to be like closer than the game probably was, or it's going to feel like a tough game always with Indiana.
If you looked at that score, you'd be like, "Oh man, Indiana put up some points, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
But you actually watch it, they put up a good fight in the first half.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just kind of.
Yep. Clemson, they kind of took out some frustrations on Wake Forest, 63-3. A week after I declared Wake Forest can score some points. Well, there's that.
So what are you saying for next week?
Yeah.
Because I need to get ready for that.
Next week? Which part of next week?
For all these teams.
Oh,
yeah.
man. I don't know because you bet against anything I say.
Yeah.
Florida knocked off LSU, which helped Notre Dame tremendously. What I was going to get to earlier, it just kind of hit me, is the path is set now. In my opinion, the path's set for Notre Dame. If they got to go undefeated with this strength of schedule, but it's there now. I feel like the Big 12 has no respect by the committee. They're not going to put a one-loss Big 12 team in that's letting up 50 points a game over an undefeated Notre Dame. And then the Pac-12 is essentially out already. I mean, do you think? What do you think? You think that Notre Dame gets in 12-0?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I don't think that. I really.
But I'll say I think that's the only way Notre Dame gets in.
100% agree with this schedule. If this is the Stanford of old, if this is the Florida State with Jameis Winston plus Michigan, actually this year Michigan, I'd take this year Michigan over past. This might be one of the better Michigan teams in the last 10 years.
Have you watched them?
That's not saying much.
Yeah, they're.
I'm not saying they're great.
Yeah, they're okay.
I mean, I think this is better than what is it? Denard? Was it Robinson?
Denard Robinson.
Yeah,
I think that offense was so much more explosive.
Really?
Yeah.
Because Denard.
Because you at any time Denard Robinson's going to break one.
Right. I feel like. I mean, I get that. I'm just saying overall, he's one person. But
Yeah, but it's college football.
That's true. That's a good point. I concede that argument. That is a good point. He couldn't throw to save his life, but he didn't need to a lot of times.
No, he didn't.
You guys always held him in check so well.
No way. Man, he always ran all over Ohio State. Yeah.
These games never felt like they were close. No?
Yeah, they were. He was always breaking something.
What years did Denard play?
Who knows?
Who knows? So Denard played sometime.
It was with Tressel. Against Tressel.
So he was picked in 2013 draft. So his senior year would have been 2012. Let's look up the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry and just see how well you guys could keep him in check. Well, regardless, it was better than Notre Dame could. Okay, yeah, 26-21 in 2012. You guys won. 2011 was the Fickle game, and they won.
Yeah.
2010 was 37-7. You guys stomped them. And I don't. Did he play his freshman year? He did. Yeah, he did play his freshman year. You guys won 21-10. So, I mean, closer than I guess. Well, no, 09 would have probably been Tate Forcier.
I don't know.
I can't remember. You're like, it's Michigan. We beat them all the time. Like when we were talking to Allison, and you're like, Michigan does not. You said Michigan does not scare me ever,
yeah.
Not once. So back to the top 25. Florida knocked off LSU yesterday, 27-19. That really helps Notre Dame. Like LSU's at 5. The SEC is going to beat itself up, but who knows with these committee members what they want to do. If Georgia happens to go unbeaten and it's a close game between Bama and Georgia, who knows? But now, as long as Notre Dame stays unbeaten, I don't think they have to worry about getting left out for a one-loss team. Looks like Auburn went down. The vaunted SEC number 8 goes down. I mean, look at all these teams. SEC teams they just sprinkled in the top 10.
Yep.
Just for reasons.
Just because make the conference look stronger and to keep these teams around.
Mm-hmm. West Virginia beat Kansas. Washington, man, we couldn't have been more wrong on UCLA. 0-5 now. Ugh, that's gross.
That's like the first time in since the 1940s.
Yeah.
That they've gone 0-5.
Yeah, and then Nebraska went down again yesterday. They're 0-5 now. That's a train wreck. They look like Notre Dame did in 07 when Jimmy Clausen was a freshman, and when we would get a first down, it was like, all right, yeah.
I don't even know if they look that bad, or that good.
It was so frustrating in 2007 where it's like you get a first down, it's like, you guys sure it ain't worth points, right? No, all right, cool, yeah. Never mind. We already talked about Kentucky, kind of just laying an egg there against A&M. Utah beats Stanford 40-21. Michigan wins 42-21 over Maryland, which honestly is a game that wasn't even that close. Miami beat Florida State. Florida State's up 27-7 and lose 28-27. Michigan State drops a game to Northwestern. Northwestern, they finally finished a game. They were up 17-0 on Michigan and got beat 20-17.
Yeah.
They were beaten up on Akron a few weeks ago and ended up getting beat by freaking Akron. And then yesterday they were able to pull it out. That's a nice win for them, though. I mean, that's the game, man, as far as Notre Dame fans are concerned, that game scares the hell out of me. We always play like shit after Navy. It's the week after. It's probably going to be a noon game. It'll be a sleepy, so crowd at noon on ESPN with Northwestern, who's probably going to come in there at 3-4.
Why do you schedule? Well, I guess it's Northwestern, but why do you schedule a game like that after
after Navy? Because they're stupid.
Yeah, you schedule something like Bethune-Cookman,
right? Yeah, you get the Southampton Institute of Technology on.
Yeah,
there.
where you can just roll out your helmets and you win.
Whoop, there you go. Oh man, the Fighting Herm Edwards went down to Colorado. Dude, Colorado's sneaky unbeaten, 5-0. Now, have they played anybody? Probably not. But hey, they're 5-0, and it's going into week 6. It's pretty impressive. NC State stays unbeaten as well. Ryan Finley, dude, I love that guy. Big quarterback, big-bodied guy. I think he's going to be a high draft pick when we do the draft show. I'll be interested to see, especially in a weird year for quarterbacks anyway. I think we've talked about this before, about how this feels like the E.J. Manuel draft.
Ugh.
And the Geno Smith, where teams are going to be drafting quarterbacks where it's like, hey, we have to draft a quarterback in the first round.
There's not really any quarterback right now that they're projecting to come out in the draft.
Did you break it?
Yeah, I think so. that they're saying, hey, they're coming out. That I'm just like, oh, you got to have this guy.
Well, I know a lot of people were saying before the season, Shea Patterson was like a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yep.
Go ahead, though, because you know what? He has some talent for college. And, if he had the right guy, not hairball, he could probably make himself into something. I mean, it's a very low percentage of 5-stars that don't succeed in college. It's a super low percentage. Now, they don't all become NFL stars. In fact, not very many of them actually become NFL stars. It's kind of a weird stat in that way. But, most 5-star quarterbacks, they can at least make some things happen. But if he goes ahead and goes on pro after this year, more power to you, man, because I think Michigan's going to drop off significantly after this year. All those guys graduate.
Yeah.
Higdon's gone, the running back. Gary's gone for sure. He'll probably be a top 10 pick, I would say.
Oh, absolutely.
Hudson, the one I always talk about, I think is better than Peppers. He's a senior. Devin Bush is a senior. Winovich, the white kid with the hair hanging out of the back of his helmet, yeah, he's a senior. I mean, regardless of, clearly, me and Will, we both have a common enemy here in Michigan. But regardless of that, man, that's a talented defense.
Yeah.
And those guys don't just grow on trees. You don't just replace guys like that.
Yep.
Like we talked about in the college football preview show, McGlinchey and Nelson, how do you replace them? You kind of don't. You just hope, you can develop some guy that can kind of, play above average. And then if he turns out to be as good as one of the better players that's ever played in your system, then, well, great. But don't count on it. Right. And, Harbaugh, he isn't necessarily the best coach, in my opinion. He is, I wouldn't want him.
No, I wouldn't want him either.
I don't like his scheme. I don't think he can coach offense. It's almost like he doesn't even understand how to coach offense. Clock management's crap.
I feel like he thinks I can go to Michigan, I can put the Michigan hat on, and get glasses that look like Bo Schembechler, and dress like Bo Schembechler, and I'll come out here and we'll win games because of that.
I always told Jerry I wanted to make a shirt that said Bo doesn't know, and put like the national championship trophy on it, and put Bo doesn't know. He never won a national title.
Nope.
He was terrible in bowl games. I mean, the 10-year war is what it is. I mean, I think, what did he go, like 3-7 in that time? I mean,
I don't know.
I
thought he was better than that.
I don't know. I thought Woody won most of those games.
He might have. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought he won the majority of those games. So I'm like, you hang your hat on this. At least most schools that hang their hat on their legend, they've done something of some. I mean, he won a lot of games.
Yeah,
went to a lot of Rose Bowls and won a couple. But like, at the end of the day, you're David Shaw. Like, I mean, I don't know if I'm building a statue after a guy like that.
No.
Unless I'm at Stanford.
Well, I mean,
if I'm at Stanford,
let's think about it. Like, he's the best coach they've had.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Lloyd Carr was better.
I liked Lloyd Carr. He
won a national. Well, he shared a national.
Yeah, shared a national title, and he didn't piss me off quite as bad. Hairball pisses me off. He's annoying. Like Lloyd, I've never liked Michigan. Don't take this the wrong way, but Lloyd Carr never aggravated me. I always kind of liked the guy. He's all right.
Yeah,
and never hated him.
The only thing I ever really truly liked about Michigan is their hats, the dark blue.
With the M,
with the yellow. I don't care what letter it is. It doesn't have to be M. But
you got some amazing blue Ohio State hats rolling around. And stuff. Yeah, you'd wear it. That's funny. Let's take a look, see what's going on in the NFL. Because our NFL coverage has been garbage this year. But thanks, North Catholic. Thanks for that. I tell you what, so our responsibility, and that's clear sarcasm, by the way. So nobody get all upset out there. But our responsibility, I feel like, has went up with this show as far as like, hey, the show's gaining a lot of some notoriety and really picking up some steam and stuff. And I feel like I've watched less than ever.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I watched way more when the show was just some guy talking to himself in his bedroom or in a room. Like, honestly, like, and now we have all these things going on, and it's like I don't feel like I watch that much football anymore.
I get a lot of people who ask me, they're like, how do you do all the things you do?
Yeah.
They're like, it just doesn't seem like you have enough hours in the day.
There was a guy at the gym the other day. He said to me, he's like, dude, how do you do it? He's like, you're everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I had somebody ask me that today when we were talking about how hot it was out at football this morning. And I was like, yeah, I got to leave this football game like right after our game's over.
Yeah.
And then drive out to Newark to go shoot photos for my daughter's cheerleading.
Mm-hmm. Who'd your daughters play today?
Newark.
Newark High?
No. It's third grade.
Oh, I got you.
They played Newark at Whitefield.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
100-yard field, or did they clip it down?
100-yard field.
No kidding.
Yeah, they smoked them.
Oh, Heights did?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah, they did. Heck yeah, they did. There's like 2 people that will listen to this and know what we're talking about.
Yeah, they're getting ready for playoffs now, too. My wife, she's like, last night we were talking, and she was like, because Saturday I had a soccer game in the morning, and then we didn't have anything to do the rest of the day outside of watching the OSU game.
I bet you were fidgeting, weren't you?
Hell no, I was just chilling.
Really?
I was actually looking at photos from Friday night.
Oh, okay.
Because I took 1,200 photos. Yeah.
There was one time I was standing beside you, and all I heard was I was like, you all right? Everything okay over there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, this is a lot of fun, man. We love what we're doing, that's for sure. I tell you what, and if you don't, we have more national listeners on the East of the Bend podcast. If you haven't checked out our North Catholic coverage, check it out. We've got some good things cooking, and I think once we get a break, once we can catch our breaths, this is like being in a game and you're down and you're probably going to lose this one, and it's like, all right, next game I know exactly what to fix. We just got to get out of this one.
Yeah.
We're really running ourselves thin right now. We're probably going to cut back on the podcast after November the 5th. Will probably be our last one for a little while, and then we'll do like a season review show. My son's birthday is the 17th. Yep, sure is. And then the week before, I'm actually going to Notre Dame and Florida State. But we just need a chance to catch our breath. Anybody that's followed the show for this year at all. Since January, we have been on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've done more shows in this year.
Yeah.
Well, at least in the last like 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
Than the previous year and a half.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, a lot of them I did by myself. And it's like I was telling somebody once, I was like, yeah, you know, this is the podcast. This is what we do, and kind of explaining it. I was like, yeah, those first 8 episodes are pretty rough. So, yeah, just take that with a grain of salt.
Just grind it out.
Just grind it out. Yeah, just grind it out. That's for sure. Especially we're on 41 right now. It's crazy. But, yeah, so we're going to, let's see. We do have a big one coming up. I'm trying to get confirmation. I am not announcing this one. I'm not even giving a hint. Once I get it, I'll get the guest. We'll get that one knocked out, and I'll let everybody know. And then we're going to cut down on our guests a little bit and just kind of go this route, do some old school podcasting with each other. We are going to do a little bit of North Catholic wrestling coverage, but that's going to be a couple meets, and then we'll have the coach on with us and stuff like that. And we'll do a March Madness show. It's one of my favorite ones. We'll do a Super Bowl show. We're going to companion the Champions League final. I'm stoked about that. With all your soccer knowledge, you know, no World Cup next year, so we got to squeeze some kind of good 100% soccer show in, so that'll be fun. But, yeah, so Bengals beat the Dolphins today. It's 27-17. Dude, what's up with Tannehill?
He is who he is.
Yeah, he is who he is. That's for sure. 180. When are they just gonna like throw in the towel on that? 185 yards.
When they get a new head coach, because the head coach loves him.
Yeah, Adam Gase. He was like this. Remember, he was hot offensive coordinator. Yeah, if I had the offense that Denver had, so would I.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, if I'd had that offense. Chargers up on the the Raiders. Hey,
The Raiders.
Hey, here's looking at you, John Gruden. Oh, my God.
Yeah, they should be 0-4. They should have lost that game against the Browns.
Oh, yeah, I feel like officiating is so bad this year.
Yeah.
To the point I need to buy a rule book, especially for high school.
Oh, my gosh. Kid gets called for targeting, and then they just, 15-yarder.
What was the one pass interference, and it wasn't a first down?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I see you now. Vikings up on the Eagles 20-14. Cardinals 14-6 over the Niners right now. C.J. Beathard got off the work at Walmart and come to play quarterback for the Niners.
Yeah.
Dude, Seahawks are up on the Rams 31-24.
Oh, that can't be right. The Rams are the best team in the
The
NFL.
Rams are right up there with Alabama.
Yeah.
Dude, the Bills had the most Bills score ever, 13-12 over the Titans. Followed by, it's aptly followed in this line of scores, the Browns 12-9 in overtime.
Yeah, against the
Ratbirds.
Yeah.
Lions 31, Packers 23. Thank you, Lions. Even though the Bears can't beat them. But hey,
the Packers lost.
The Packers lost.
Oh, wow.
Rodgers went for 442.
Jeez.
That's a day. Chiefs over the Jags. What do you think about Mahomes?
I don't know. I mean, you look at that score and you're like, oh, damn, he lit it up. But then you look at his stats and he didn't have any touchdowns today. He only had interceptions.
So, yeah, 22-38. How about Bortles Day? Who knew? Who knew he could do that? But he threw it to the other team 4 times.
So here's what's going to happen with Jacksonville is they're going to look back in about 5 years and be like, we blew it.
Yeah.
We blew it because they have probably the best defense in football, and you've got a garbage quarterback. Now you're paying $19 million a year.
That's
you
a
could have
mess.
easily gone out and signed
the
somebody.
stat line. So if you get on ESPN's website and you get their stat lines, the first thing come up is top performers, and you see 33 of 61. Since when are the Jaguars throwing 61 times? Let's go.
They shouldn't throw more than 6 times,
right? For 430, I was like, "Damn, Bortles, you went off." And then I clicked, and he had 1 touchdown to 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I don't know what I think about Mahomes. He's like everybody's flavor of the month right now, and I just don't trust him.
Well, I mean, you're starting to see it week by week. His numbers are starting to come down,
dip a little bit,
and their defense is so bad that he's got to throw the ball a lot.
Yeah, let's see who they beat so far. So I mean, they beat good teams.
Oh, they play the Patriots this week.
That'll be interesting.
I'm pretty sure it's the
Patriots. It's Patriots this week, but they beat some good teams. They beat the Chargers are solid.
They're
2-2. So, I mean, all right. Steelers. Calling out your boys.
Yeah.
Niners garbage after G goes down. Broncos solid. And Jags. And they beat them by 16, that defense, but 30 on that D. So,
yeah.
I mean, the turnovers probably didn't help. I'd like to know where all those drives started.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to know, to see a drive chart. Nope, not looking it up, but not a chance. Yeah. Jets beat the Broncos. Case Keenum, 35 of 51, 377. It's a hell of a day for him. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Sam Darnold had an okay day. I don't know about him, man.
I think he's
like, I kind of like the Jets. I was kind of support the Jets because I liked him back with Pennington. I love Chad Pennington.
Yeah.
And his glass shoulders. But I always feel like they're kind of the stepchild of New York. Everybody there's always a contingent of Yankee fans and even Met fans and Rangers fans and Giants fans are everywhere. But the Jets, they're just kind of there, and their fans are so freaking loyal, man. Like, they love their team. You know, and they've never had their own stadium. It always is like, yeah, this is what we built for the Giants, and the Jets can play here too, and we'll turn some green lights on.
Yeah, but I think they do that because it's a lot like the Clippers. Why build your own stadium when you can use somebody else's?
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, the Chargers are doing it with the Rams, and thing's gonna be a cathedral out there.
Why? They're gonna have like 10,000
I was just gonna
fans.
say there's gonna be more people in this room than there will be at that. Yeah. Who knew? Man, did you say Isaiah Crowell's day? 15 carries, 219.
Oh, wow. But see, you know, he doesn't get that mention because he was at Alabama, and then he left Alabama and went to, I think, like Alabama State or one of those schools.
Yep, Alabama State. Good call, man.
And
if I had a dinger, I would hit it the hell out of it right now.
Ding! So I think, you know, he's the best running back Alabama's put into the NFL in the last, like, 20 years.
Yeah, okay. I'll run with that. Yeah. At least he could find a hole, clearly, after getting over 200 yards outside of, he hit whatever Trent Richardson missed.
All of the holes.
Man, I love that picture.
Yeah.
That picture is awesome.
The hole's like 13 yards wide.
When they always talk about, you know, your coach is like, you could drive a truck through that hole. No, literally.
Literally, you could drive a truck.
Like maybe 2. There's a good, that picture in particular, you might be able to put 2 through there.
Yeah, possible.
Let's see here. Steeler, man, what did you guys do to the Falcons? Good night.
The defense showed up. And, you know, I knew it would happen because I couldn't watch the game. I knew it would happen.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting on the sidelines taking pictures of little, like, 8 and 9-year-olds with my cell phone right on the ground.
You better clarify exactly.
Playing football. Playing football.
Okay.
But,
that's what they call it now.
I'm not putting them on my computer.
Actually, you are putting them on your computer.
No, I'm not. I'm just going to take them to somewhere and have them take care of it. But
that's the end of this podcast.
Yeah.
Coach Aiello just called. We're fired.
Yeah.
So I was at this park taking pictures of some kids. Go on.
Yeah. In Newark.
Yeah. All right.
But I was looking at my phone, like trying to get updates, and I'm like, it would figure. The block punt punt.
Just looked like a really complete game.
TJ Watt went off. He had 3 sacks.
Yeah.
Which he had 1 sack that caused a fumble into the end zone. They just played really good. They held what's his name? Julio Jones. He only had like 3 catches, I think.
Bring up the box
and that was he didn't have a catch until I think the 4th quarter.
5 catches, 62 yards.
Okay.
A long of 18. I'll take that.
So they held him in check until the 4th quarter. They were beating him so bad they took out Matt Ryan and put in Matt Schaub.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. I tell you what, my Falcons Super Bowl pick is not looking too hot right now.
Yeah.
But Sarkisian's a shit offensive coordinator. I think that's part of it. But you know what? If Matt Ryan's as good as I always thought he was, he should be able to overcome that.
Yeah.
I hope he gets caught. Oh, I wish.
Well, they blew the play dead.
Oh, did they blow it dead?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the disadvantage of not having sound. For those of you that think I've just blew an aneurysm here, guy for the Vikings just ran back what looks to be a fumble, potentially.
It should be intentional grounding.
It might be intentional grounding now, but he walked from the 15 in. And I mean, in his mind, I think he thought it really was a touchdown.
Well, I mean, he did the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You run it to the end zone.
But I was like, man, I hope he gets caught.
Yeah.
finish up our NFL rundown here. Looks like the Panthers, man, what was that, a 63-yard field?
63 yards.
Man, that's got to do your my soccer guy proud, am I right?
Yeah, I could have hit it 65.
Yeah, 33-31 over those Giants that Saquon Barkley was supposed to win them a Super Bowl, Ricky Smith. What's going on?
Yeah.
1-4.
Odell Beckham bitching about not getting paid, gets paid. Now he's bitching about the offense. I mean, you want to talk about a head case.
There's a lot of egos on that team.
Yeah.
Like, I think Eli's got one, too, honestly. He comes off like Mr. Oh, shucks.
I don't think he does.
You don't think so?
Nah.
He always comes off whiny to me.
I mean, most quarterbacks are whiny.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's whiny enough to where he gets a rule implemented, and now he's whining about that rule.
Oh, my God. Yeah, well, you're not going to get any sympathy from me, Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to stand up for nothing on that. And honestly, I mean, that rule is essentially, man, talk about separating a guy from a ball.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's not a penalty.
Because he hit him too hard, right?
Yeah, because he hit him.
Yeah, because he hit him. That was Alshon. That used to be my guy.
I mean, that's a laser pass. You got to catch that.
And bang.
Smith, Harrison Smith.
Isn't that crazy? Talk about underutilized talent at Notre Dame. It blows my mind. You know, Harrison was a nice player. And Charlie, you know, I don't know what he was doing. I mean, and now, you know, he played. I mean, he started. It wasn't he sat a guy that turned into something. And Harrison always had a lot of talent. But then just know that he's the highest paid safety in the league. And
he's probably the best safety
and probably the best safety in the league. And we had him. And, you know, Charlie couldn't figure out a defensive scheme to make him just a game changer. I mean, he was a nice player, good player. But
yeah, but I always wonder about that. Like, you know, you alluded to it a little bit earlier. Not a lot of 5-star recruits. But then when you actually start looking at the guys who are getting drafted, most of them aren't 5-star recruits. Okay, I get it. You know, there's 7 rounds, 32 teams. There's not that many 5-stars. Well, actually, there kind of are. Right. Because you have how many ever of them a year. But anyways, the guys who really develop the most are the guys who are the 3-star recruits coming out of high school.
Absolutely.
And I think it's just a matter of how soon you grow.
Right. And you're still growing. I mean, some of these kids are coming out pro 20, 21 years old. And, you know, I mean, plenty of growth to happen and getting faster. I mean, everybody can get faster and build and develop, especially if you didn't, you know, grow or develop earlier. So, yeah, man, I definitely think that coming into your own in the NFL is really a thing.
Yeah.
You know, and mentally. Maybe mentally you just didn't work that hard, but talent got you through.
Right, and that's a big thing. You see that, like Aaron Maben, who was the defensive lineman from Penn State, who was like a top 3 pick or a top 5 pick, and then he got cut like after 2 years in the NFL. Yeah, and he just didn't want to be there.
Right. Well, I mean, Trent, we were talking about this yesterday, texting back and forth about Trent Richardson. Or about Alabama players and how they don't really translate to the NFL. And the article that always came to my mind is Trent Richardson talking about how militant that Bama was with their training and nutrition, and you had to be here at a certain time. And the new CBA in the NFL, it isn't like that. Yeah. You have a certain amount of hours they work you, and that's about it. Everything else is on your own.
Yep.
And if you don't have that work ethic, or if you're one of those people that has to be told to do something, oops. Your NFL career is going to be 3.5 years is the average. Yeah, it doesn't matter how talented you are. You might be able to squeak out, 4 or 5 years, but you're not going to be impactful for a team.
No, and you're not going to make the money you could.
Right. Tonight's Battle of Texas, Sunday Night Football, Cowboys-Texans. Colts got beat by the Pats Thursday Night Football, 38-24.
That wasn't a surprise.
No.
It was like half of the offense was hurt and out for the Colts.
Yeah. Well, and Irsay's freaking built a 7-on-7 team anyway.
Yeah.
He's ignorant. And probably high.
Do another line.
You got a hooker in the trunk. Redskins and Saints tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. So we'll get ready to wrap the show up here. Notre Dame's got kind of a trap game this week coming up. I mean, you know, these kids would be lying if they didn't say, man, the bye week's next week. Man, we could go into the bye week unbeaten. And, you know, we just got to get through Pitt. You know, that's got to go through some of these kids' minds. And Pitt is not good. And this is a bad football team. I know I was watching North Carolina and Miami. North Carolina looked disinterested. They looked poorly coached, even though I used to be a Fedora fan. They just looked disorganized. They looked a mess out there. And you know who beat Pitt? North Carolina. So, I mean, but then North Carolina goes, they look completely inept against UCF. I don't care if that's a Power 5 school. Pitt, or non-Power 5. Pitt as a Power 5 should at least be competitive with UCF. Final score 45-14. Mackenzie Milton's a stud, by the way. I love that kid.
Yeah.
Quarterback. Penn State beat Pitt 51-6. They beat Georgia Tech. I mean, hats off to Pitt to figure out the triple option. That is not easy. Louisville couldn't do it. Actually, did you see that score? 66-31. Georgia Tech beat Louisville the other day.
Ugh.
And Georgia Tech threw the ball 2 times.
Oh, wow.
500 or 600 yards rushing.
Wow.
Something crazy like that. Yesterday, Pitt beat Syracuse. Again, that did absolutely jack and shit for our strength of schedule. I wanted to get up some of the numbers here. They have a running back. I don't want to botch his name. Quadri Olison. He went for 24 carries, 192. Kenny Pickett, decent quarterback, but yesterday's 11 of 20, 137, touchdown and interception. I mean, we should blow this team off the field. There's no reason that this game should be close. Let me get some other numbers real quick. Leading wide receiver on the team, he only has 265 yards on 12 receptions. Actually, their leading wide receiver has the most yards but no touchdowns. Looks like he, 12 receptions, so he must be catching the deep ball quite a bit. Pickett, I think, is a threat to run. He's only thrown for 880 this year, 6 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. I mean, it's not impressive. He's in the positives. He can move around a little bit back there, 6'2", 220. This Quadri Olison, albeit a nice running back, and went for almost 200 yesterday. His total on the season is 596, and he had almost 200 in one game.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I mean, there's no reason that this game shouldn't be 20, 30-point win, especially with Book at quarterback, but it's hard telling what we're going to get. I know you seem to be kind of a fan of Book. You seem to like what you see with Book.
I like him better than Wimbush.
Yeah. Well, there's that. I just feel like, I don't know, he seems to really have upped the energy level of this team. I hate to say it, but he almost reminds me of Baker Mayfield a little bit.
Yeah, I see that.
He's not super tall. I think he's taller than Baker. He doesn't look, because Baker looked small to me.
He does.
Yeah, but Ian doesn't remind me. When I look at Ian, I don't think that's a small quarterback. Do you?
I do.
Do you?
I do.
Do you think he looks like a Mayfield?
Yeah,
build?
to me, when I see him, I wonder if he's even over 6 feet tall.
Okay, interesting. That's definitely because I see him as bigger than Baker, but not by much. He doesn't have quite the elusiveness that Baker had. He's still got to work on the deep ball. The short intermediate game is there, and not necessarily a little bit longer routes than even intermediate, like 12, 15-yard outs look great. He's throwing to a spot like we always talk about. But, again, Pitt's not a good football team. We're getting them at home. It's right before the bye. We got to get after it out there. So we'll get ready here. We'll wrap up another episode of our show. That came in loud and hot. Episode 41. We appreciate everybody's support. Again, brought to you by Dempsey's Food and Spirits, 346 South High Street in Columbus. I should add that each tab you get, make sure if you go there, ask your bartender if they don't give it to you. Ask them for the raffle ticket for Notre Dame USC for next year. Every paid tab gets into the drawing for the tickets for next season.
That means you have to pay your tab.
Yeah, you can't just walk out.
Yeah.
So, we will be back next week. Again, 2 shows again next week. On the 14th, we'll be in at 5 o'clock for the Ryan ILL postgame show, and at 6 o'clock for the East of the Bend podcast, and then we'll probably take the next week off. Notre Dame's on a bye, so we'll catch our breaths a little bit. I'm sure you won't be disappointed over there. All right, guys. Until next time, go Irish.